As I start this video, I am tempted to say that this was just an awful, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week. But that's not really the truth. The truth is that my bike intervals went really well. And the truth is that I had a swim lesson and she helped me remember part of my recovery motion, that in particular where my elbow is during the recovery motion, that is going to help me not only be faster but just have more ease in the swim, and it felt really great. So that was really good. Uh, but then there's the run. And the running this week has been terrible. Running is not my friend. I can't remember if I told you this story before, but they wanted me to run track and they wanted me to sprint and to throw. Two things I was pretty good at. And so I agreed. And then the first day of track practice, the coach is like, all right, we start every practice with a 2-mile run to warm up. And I was like, I quit. I literally quit in the first minute of track practice because I didn't want to run 2 miles every day. I would rather shave my head with a cheese grater while chewing on tin foil every day than run 2 miles a day after school every day. And so I just said, no thanks. I was like, I think maybe we've miscommunicated. I will sprint and I will throw. I will not run any kind of distance. I just hated it. And that was part of taking on this challenge, was taking on that beast of a thing that I just said, no, I hate it, I'm not good at it, and I'm not going to do it. And part of what I hated about it was that running always hurt me. I have this chronic thing where I can have ripping pain that starts on the outside of my ankle and goes up to my knee. I have now, starting last year, I started to have this thing where my calves would cramp up almost immediately upon running. And usually they would kind of let go after a couple miles, but it sucks and it hurts. And also just mentally, it's exhausting to keep running even though you are in that kind of excruciating pain. And so that's kind of what this week was all about. Monday was one of the worst runs of my life. It was cold. It was raining, sort of between like a heavy fog and a drizzle at the beginning, and then it picked up, the wind and the rain picked up at the end. Perfect. But I was having this cramping and this pain the entire time, and I would stop and try to stretch it out, and it would be better for 10, 15 strides, and then right back to cramping up and excruciating pain. And so finally I just had to give up and just run on the cramped leg because there was nothing else to do. I felt like I didn't want to cut the workout short. And so I just did it, and I got to the end, and I wanted to be proud and happy, and I was just, I just felt like somebody just whooped my ass, for an extended period of time. Wednesday's run went a little better, still had the cramping pain, but, a little better, and at least it wasn't freezing cold and raining the whole time. And then there was the long run. My physical therapist suggested I try compression calf sleeves and salt tablets, and so I did both. And so I'm, in running tights and compression sleeves, and I think I probably kind of looked like a leprechaun or something. I'm not sure exactly what the look was, but I'm certain that it was an interesting one. So I head out, and the cramping starts almost immediately, and it was almost a little more devastating because my calves did feel pretty good in the compression sleeve, so I thought maybe this is going to work, right? And so the fact that it didn't, I think, made it even worse. And so after the first couple miles, it was really bad, probably the worst it's ever been, and I couldn't get it to release. And then there's a bench near there, so I just sat down on the bench. And originally my thought was I'll sit down on this bench and just kind of, hopefully let the calves rest. And, sometimes that works. If I sit down and take all the pressure off them, sometimes that can get them to release. But the more I sat there, the more I didn't feel like I could face getting up and running. And that's when I almost quit the Ironman. I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I can end this all right now. I can end it all. I don't have to do this anymore. And I had the Lyft app up on my phone because as like a final fuck you to the Ironman, I was going to get a Lyft to take me the less than a mile I was from my car, because I run a loop, so I'm never even that far from my car, which is another thing. Like every time I pass my car, I think to myself, like, I could just get in it. But I mean, I was done. And so I was, composing in my head what my blog was going to be and how I was going to talk about the fact that sometimes you just can't get something done. And that doesn't mean it wasn't worth trying, and trying to think about the lessons that I'd learned about myself through this project, and trying to think about a life without, a workout that's difficult and that I don't really enjoy every single day, for the next 9 months. And I was getting ready to order that lift, and I don't know, I just had that stubborn streak come up, and I said, no, I'm going to finish this run. And I realized that I want to be on this journey, that this is what I signed up for. Can I still push myself towards this goal even when everything seems completely bleak and terrible? And I decided that yes, I can do that. And so I put my phone away, turned my songs back on, I got up, and I kept going on the run. And finally, it took like 4 miles for it even to release a little bit. And then after like 4-ish miles, I had a half a mile where I felt pretty good. And because it's mentally exhausting, at least for me, to just keep going when I'm in that kind of constant pain, there is a tendency when I am then not in that kind of pain to like slack off a little bit, especially in the walking intervals. So I do run walk intervals, and so in the walking intervals especially, there's a tendency to just want to like sit back and enjoy not being in pain. And so I came up with this mantra that I just kept repeating to myself, that I'm getting stronger, I'm getting faster, I'm building endurance, I'm becoming an Ironman. I don't know how many times I said that to myself to get myself through this run, and to really use the times when I felt not terrible to really push. As I've told you guys many times, I think one of the reasons I'm not improving in the running is that I'm confusing being miserable with working as hard as I can. And so I'm basically just sustaining what I can do instead of pushing harder and building more strength and more speed and more endurance. And so I feel like I've really succeeded in this run at using all the times when I felt, even a modicum better in terms of the cramping and the pain, to really push and to really try to build speed. Despite the fact that I'm only a few hours now removed from the closest I've ever come to just quitting this entire journey, I feel pretty good. I feel good that I climbed back up out of the depths of my self-pity and sadness and difficulty and frustration and got up off that bench and finished that run. That's what I wanted to do with this journey. That's what I wanted to learn about myself. I know that if I'm doing well at something, I can push really hard, and I can excel, and I can overachieve. But I want to know that if I'm not doing great at something, if I'm not excelling, that I can still push really hard, that I can still achieve. And getting up off that bench was an achievement, was an epic achievement for me. Not calling a lift and getting driven back to my car and going home and selling my bike and burning my running shoes and being done was an achievement. This is the journey that I signed up for, and I know there are people who have a really hard time understanding why I would do this, and I understand that. And I don't recommend this for anyone. This isn't something I think people should do or need to do. This is just my personal thing that I wanted to do. And so I'm doing it, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm feeling positive about this next week. And I'm ready for the next run, and if it hurts or if it doesn't, I know I'll get through it. And I just keep telling myself, I'm building strength. I'm building speed. I'm building endurance. I'm becoming an Ironman. That's it for this week. Remember, you can always click this button right here to subscribe so you don't miss any of these vlogs. You can also see more of my journey at www.ironfat.com. And I hope you'll have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.